Hi, my name is Garrett, and I am sitting here today with CJ. And CJ, as someone who has a incredibly hard to pronounce last name, I'm going to ask you, how is the proper way to pronounce yours?
Schero.
Schero, okay. Well, my last name is Weinzierl, and people tend to look that on paper and lose their minds.
Yeah, I get that a lot too.
It's not that hard to spell. It's not that many letters involved.
Yeah, but it's SCH, the old like Eastern European Polish pronunciation. So yeah, I get Shihiro and Schwero and all sorts of stuff. So I'm on the same boat.
I bet. So we're here to talk today about your company, the Big Top Beard Co.
Yes.
So as if anyone is watching this on video, as they can probably see, you have quite the nice beard yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And as they might be able to see, I'm struggling miserably to maintain a beard. So I may walk away from this talk having learned a few things.
Maybe. Maybe.
So I guess first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're a graduate of NMSU.
Yes, I am. Graduated this last December actually. So I'm one of the newest graduates of NMSU. Let's say that.
I say you're a brand new graduate and you already have a business up and running. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was a little brainchild that me and one of my coworkers we were bartending in town here in Las Cruces, and we we played around with a couple of oils, and we both were the only two people that were allowed to keep our beards because we maintained them behind the bar, and so. We played around with a couple of oils, and we said, you know what, why don't we just make our own? So with my business experience and my business partner, who couldn't be here today, his creative mindset, we got off the ground pretty quickly. So
Gotcha. I mean, was it that simple? How much research did you have to do to learn exactly what goes into a beard oil and how you create it?
yeah. So actually, all of the ingredients that we use are singular ingredients that you'd find used, say, in other hair care products. So all the big names, we use 100% organic carrier oils is what they're called. And so you have the jojoba oil, the argan oil, sweet almond oil, and we actually took a different kind of more step to the whole oil process, and we researched further into hemp oil. And so all of our products actually feature the 100% sustainable or the stable grooming of hemp. So yeah, we're super excited. And I actually have some if we want to show those off in a little bit. But
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, that's great. So, how quickly did you kind of research what went into it, and how long until you had your first batch, your 1.0?
yeah, so 1.0 took about a week, and that 1.0 we don't sell because it's 1.0, and nobody wants to buy 1.0. They want to buy the iPhone 6. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Uh, we we played around with a lot, tinkered with all the oils. We did, I would say, about 100 hours worth of research online, and talking to other skin and health and hair care professionals. Whether that was talking to the barber while we sat in the barber's chair, or just drilling Google for what's the benefits of hemp oil, what's the benefits of argan oil, and nailing everything down. And then once we got those firm in our minds, then we decided, okay, well, what do I want in a beard oil? And so then it took about a week's worth of research, and then a month's worth of tinkering with the first batch, and we made two separate batches actually of like, oh, what's your idea and what's my idea, for me and my business partner, and then we combined them together and turned them into what we're now on, and what we're selling now is batch number 4. And so we've tinkered even further, and then we started the company on October 13th of 15, and we were able to drop our first product, and our first product sold on the Saturday before Christmas. So,
Wow, that's a great turnaround.
yeah, we being graduated, I all of a sudden had so much time to focus on the business.
It's funny how that happens, right?
Yeah. So they said, "Welcome to the real world," and I said, "Okay, here's my beard oil. Let's get to work." So
Well, it sounds like that was a nice collaborative process. Like almost, it seemed almost natural the way you two seemed to go off, make your own oils, and then come back and see how they blended. Have you had a lot of experience doing collaborations in the past? Did it just kind of come naturally?
Well, I've always been, I guess, like playing team sports all of my life. I've always been like having to be a part of a team and, oh, what's your strengths as opposed to mine? Where can we benefit each other? And so I was always, I guess, ready to go for a team aspect. But when it came, it just really just happened. I was very, very fortunate to be uh, uh, linked up with Luke, my business partner, to get that going. He's also an NMC graduate. He's got I think a bachelor's in music engineering. So that's a little bit different, but he's definitely the creative side of things.
Oh, that's great. I love hearing when professionals' backgrounds don't necessarily link up with what they're doing currently, because a lot of times things that are seemingly unrelated can lead to very unique products.
True, very, very true.
So how are you currently set up? Like where are you making the product? How are you making it? Is this I'm assuming if you've only been going since the last half of 2015, is it I'm assuming it's still pretty mom and pop shop?
Yeah, 100%. And that's really the key in what we're kind of going for. So if you were to purchase one of our bottles, and I'll whip one out over here. So if you were to purchase one of our bottles here, you'll notice that each one, I'll zoom this into the camera real quick, each one is batch labeled,
Okay.
hand labeled, and we kind of took like, not that we're a disparaging product, but we took that idea from the Patron tequila label,
Oh,
which they small batch everything, and we do the same. We make no more than 75 bottles at a time. And then from there, we specifically add each amount of essential oils to flavor or scent the oil itself. So yes, it's 100% mom and pop shop. I make all the oils in my kitchen with a hot water bath and a crock pot. So it's really, really interesting when we get the bottle production going. But yeah.
I would love to be in the room during that. I bet it's quite the production.
Yes, and the glories of being your own boss is that you can have whatever beverage in your hand while you're brewing these oils. So
That was one of the things I found that I enjoyed very much too when I started working for myself.
yeah, when all of a sudden there's no rules, you get to make your own. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, pajama pants becomes the uniform for work, and
Yeah, like this is my professional garb today.
wonderful. Yeah, I would say just overall, looking at your website and your logo, and everything, you've branded it very well. You have a very kind of across the board artisan look to everything. Was that the goal from the get go?
Yeah, we really wanted to be the handmade product that really just says quality when you look at just even the name. And so we actually bounced around. The name story is kind of funny because we bounced around a lot. At one point, we were going to be, I believe, Legionnaire Beard Company, because those were the conquerors in the Roman times, the Legionnaires. And then we got hooked on the Lion Tamer, and then we said, okay, well, what happens when we build other products? Okay, well, from here, okay, then let's say instead of Lion Tamer, let's go Ringmaster. Okay, not so much Ringmaster. I don't want to be. I need something bigger. I need something more umbrella. And so then we became the Big Top in regards to the circus. And so each one of our products that we have represents one character from the circus. And we'll be adding more characters to that marquee list, basically, as we move on. But so we have the Strongman Growth Oil, which might help you out, like you said in the beginning.
I may need to order some of that. Indeed, I have a couple bald spots on the sides that the way
fill those in for you.
Yeah, the way my face is currently fixated, you can't really tell they're there. But if I turn slightly,
yeah. So stay here.
Yeah.
But so we have the Strongman Growth Oil, the Snake Charmer Beard Oil, and the Lion Tamer Beard Wax.
That was the first thing I gravitated towards when I was taking a look at your website for the first time. Was I loved the names of the product. So I feel like you've done a very good job just bringing it all in under one roof or one big top, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. And we'll be bringing very soon after this initial test phase, because like you said, we're very, very young. This initial test phase of selling all of these first three SKUs, we'll be bringing a mustache wax as well, which we'll be calling the Sideshow or the Freak Show mustache wax. And that'll be a little bit more adhesive to really turn up some tails of the mustache.
Get a nice curl on there.
Yeah, exactly. Get a little bit more competition-esque, if you will.
I've never taken the plunge to grow my mustache that long, but I've always, every now and then, you walk by a coffee shop and you see somebody with it. And it's like, one of these days, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, yeah. We all say one of these days, and then we forget to not trim it, and then that day it hits you in the face when you try and eat some soup or something, and it just whips you back.
Yeah, it just, oh, yeah, absolutely. You end up taking way more of the soup with you than you initially planned.
Yeah, well, or you leave a lot more soup than you initially wanted.
So did you kind of plan out ahead of time what your goal was for the different sort of products that you wanted to offer, or has it been a more natural growth where you completed your first oil and then it was kind of, oh, what we need now is X?
Yeah. So actually, we took kind of a reverse role, if you to what you just said. So we had a grand plan to have the beard wax, beard oil, growth oil, an extra solve that was more of a smooth, kind of slick look, and then the wax, and then we wanted a pomade, and we just had idea after idea after idea, and I that was probably one of the funniest conversations I had with Luke, was that my business background said, no, you need to tame it back, like focus on a couple products and make them the best you can, and then move on from there. And so we have all these ideas of crazy products we want to bring out and these interesting flavors and everything else. But I said, no, let's, like, and I told him at the very beginning, it's like, I feel like I'm going to be the person telling you no a lot. Because he was always just like, no, man, I want a pomade. I want some beard shampoo. I want some beard conditioner, just like for in the shower stuff. And I'm just like, let's focus on these three. And if those go well, then we'll move on. And then if they don't go well, then we could even try something else or whatever else. But start with these three and we'll move from there. So we kind of took the reverse role, if you will.
It sounds like you two definitely have the right mix of personalities for this type of venture. It's funny that you seem so self-aware. That's like, listen, I'm going to be the realistic picture guy. Like, I'm going to be telling you no a lot, and it's good that you recognize that.
Yeah. Well, just the inception of this whole thing, like before we got really corporated up and started the LLC, we had what we now call a six-pack meeting, and I showed up to Luke's house, and we were just brainstorming and had a little bit to drink, and we were just going. I don't think I left his house until about 4 o'clock in the morning. We just lost track of time, and this is known in the business world as, if you hit like the flow aspect, you're in such a groove that nothing else matters. You're going, and oh my God, where did the last 6 hours go? And so that's what happened, and from then we just always clicked. We've been quite the pair, let's say.
That's great. It sounds like you're really enjoying what you do, which is a wonderful place to be in.
Yes, very much so.
So we've talked about the products, talked about how you started making them. Where do you get specifically the ingredients from?
All the ingredients we source online right now, and I actually got word last night from a friend and farmer's marketer, let's say that, and she said that she could hook us up with a couple beard vendors, or not beard vendors, but oil vendors, because she's a cosmetic engineer that makes her own shampoos and everything else. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so she can hook us up with potentially extremely lower costs than we've even been able to find online. But as of right now, we've been buying literally gallons of oil from Amazon and just having them shipped to us. And it's interesting when you see a 30-pound box show up in your door and, oh, well, it's time to make some more beard oil.
Has the ramp up been hard to kind of get accustomed to? Because I'm assuming when you were in the testing phase, you were working in very small quantities, and now that you are actually moving product, how has that shift been?
The shift hasn't been too bad, actually. I was a little worried about it in the very beginning, but we started with all the testing stuff. We got all of our stuff from natural grocers and like Whole Foods, basically, uh, and 'cause they have all the organic, like super hippie-esque products, and so we got all that stuff from them in very small, like 8-ounce bottles, and we were working with very small beakers to get the ratios correct to the way we wanted them, and then we just moved on from there. And it's actually, we're at the phase right now where it's a lot easier because we can say, okay, well, we need a gallon of this and a gallon of this, and things are in action, like already measured out for us if we buy them correctly.
Because you're working in such large quantities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so the next step from here is if we grow if we hit about the 1,000 bottle mark after selling about 1,000 bottles, then that's the time that we need to start buying the like 44-gallon drums of stuff, and they come on a hazmat cart to us, and that's when things are going to get interesting, and that's the next step from here. And that's just because for some reason a 44-gallon drum costs about the same as 5 gallons of individual gallon oils. And I mean, if that's the way you want to sell it to us, then that's cool. But
Yeah, well, it sounds like it's working out. Kind of works in your favor in that way.
yes, but it's going to be interesting when I have to start housing drums of oil and dunking in ladles full of things. I have no clue how we're going to do it, but we'll figure it out.
Well, it sounds like you've scaled up pretty well already. So I think I think you'll adapt pretty easily, given on what you've told me here.
Fingers crossed, right?
I have faith in you.
Cool. Good to hear.
Yeah. Did you immediately make the plunge to just start a website and set up an online store? Or did you start selling locally first?
We jumped both immediately. So I knew coming. I have a background in social media marketing, and that's what I specialized in at State.
You've already caught what I was leading into.
Yes, and so I knew that if we were going to be in business, we needed to be online, and because we don't even have a brick and mortar, we just avoided all of those costs and said, okay, let's jump online, make that look as impressive as possible, and then we do as many live events as possible as well. So, like I said, we're in the farmers market every Wednesday and Saturday, starting this coming Saturday, and Luke actually is the drummer of a band that recently separated, and so one of our first events we went and I tabled at his event, and I sold his band's merchandise in exchange for them letting me have some table room for the beard oils, and we sold a couple there, and we've done some other like small coffee shops at like the very organic, the bean is what we call it in Las Cruces, and those have been really cool. So like the craft shows and other things like that. But we've been like I needed everything to be in place first before we had the website. And then, because if somebody drops the website, then I don't want to say, oh, well, it's going to be 3 weeks until you see a product. No, I need you to have your product right now and you to be enjoying it as much as we do.
I mean, that is absolutely the best way to launch a store that's online. I mean, just no wind up. Like, it's here. You can buy it right now. Go.
Yeah. And we thought about even doing a Kickstarter as well. And when we thought about that, it was just, oh, well, like it's only going to be for really publicity, because everything. We had a pretty decent amount of savings between the two of us to get started, and so it wasn't.
So you didn't really need to fund. It was all, you had the money already at your disposal.
100%, yeah. And so it's been little stipends here and there, and I think we're really like I've made us be so lean with our practices, telling Luke no a lot that we haven't done too much, let's say R&D into new products, and spending too much money on advertising or anything else. Excuse me.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, it's tempting, right? When you have something that you're this passionate about, it's almost like you want to give it a home, like you want to get a storefront or something of that nature. But it's it's not necessary.
Yeah, and so we sold a pretty decent amount of bottles at those two events, that concert and then the tabling craft show at the Bean, and then we actually didn't even drop our website until a week later, and that was Christmas Eve. So.
And do you find a lot of the orders placed on your website are still local, or have you done any type of outreach to get traction from your website on a larger scale?
Yeah, so a lot of them have been local, and a lot of them have been like people that we know, and like the families that bought them, the brothers-in-law, everybody with a beard that we know is working with our oils, and for as far as getting the word out and getting the website going, we haven't seen too much. Really, like we're not a Google yet. Let's say that. And we are proud to say that we are. One of my best friends from high school actually plays for the Dallas Cowboys, and so he bought some oils and he got some oils for one of his teammates too. So we are proud to say that we are in the Dallas Cowboys locker room.
You know, that is called networking. That's
Yeah.
that's what that's called.
We've really reached as far as we could, and we're on a couple of beard blogs as of right now that we send oils to just for review. But as far as getting online, we have a pretty good Facebook presence. We're posting just about every day, and boosting a couple of those different posts and running promotions. And we're actually let's see, today's the 29th. Yeah, so we'll be dropping a new promotion for Valentine's Day on the 1st. So, and that'll be majorly through Instagram and Facebook.
Oh, great. Well, it sounds like you've really got a good corner on your market. Are there, speaking of kind of like, because you were talking about small local events when you got started, are there larger events like trade conventions for these type of products that you're looking to attend?
Yeah, so the next step after these small events that we'd be doing, actually the farmers market in Las Cruces is supposedly like the #2 in the nation.
I have heard from multiple people at NMSU that is like the end all be all farmers market.
Yeah, it's quite the shindig, and so we'll be getting out there and having a steady presence over there, and then so that's almost like a medium size event on the grand scheme of things, and then from there we're going to be moving into like I really ultimate goal and a little teaser for what's to come. I'm going to be in contact with the convention center here on New Mexico State's campus, and we're going to be trying to bring a beard competition that would be sponsored by us to Las Cruces. And so there's beard aficionados everywhere, and if we do the right marketing and the right getting the word out through everything, then we should be able to have a pretty good showing and some pretty wicked beards. And I wanna make that a thing and make bearding not just something that is frowned upon by older generations.
That sounds great.
So yeah, that would be hosting our own event would be the next step in the events category for us.
They can be a lot of fun. I've had the chance to do a couple of events with some of the stuff that I do, and just getting people together for a common interest. It's always very exciting, especially if you have a hand in producing it.
Yeah, for sure. And if you can be the one to give the awards and to do the free promotions and contacting the other people that you think you have a real bond with. And with that, we would bring in like anybody from like the Farmers Market Association, because that's how we basically got our start. And then we like anybody else who's organic and anybody else who's really like getting out there and making their own products. One, here in the United States, and then two, mostly in Las Cruces. And so it would be quite the showcase.
That's great. Well, I think a wrap-up question is in terms of just running a business and growing it. Do you have an exit plan? Do you plan to grow it larger, sell it? Are you planning to keep it small and really ride out the artisan side of things, which it seems like it seems like if you're leaning that way?
Yeah, we are leaning definitely towards growing it as large as we can, as fast as we can, but sticking home and staying true to what we've started with. But in the end of it, I mean, if one of these other beard companies really is liking what we're doing and they want to steal our practices, me and Luke have talked about uh, like what's our number, what's our price at the end of the game, and uh, it would right now it would have to be pretty significant because of all the work that we put in. It hasn't really automated itself yet for me to start forgetting about the beard business. So as of right now, I think that it would be quite the hefty price tag if you were to approach me today and want to buy my business. So,
Well,
but we'll have to see from there.
well, good. Well, best of luck to you. It seems like you guys are already heading in a great direction. So I appreciate you taking time to talk to me today, CJ. It's been great.
No, yeah, thank you for inviting us. It was really great.
So before we end, where can everyone find you and other Big Top Beard products?
Yeah, so go ahead and go over to bigtopbeardcompany.com and view the shop, view anything else we're doing. We have a pretty decent blog going on, and even if you just want to learn more about bearding and what the different oils mean and everything else, that's we have a full beard education portion. That's our blog, and we have a email there if you want to get a hold of us, and if you have any ideas for any other events, we are always ready to go. So
Wonderful. Well, I'm not saying that at this very moment I'm on your page, possibly placing an order for a growth oil. But if I were, what scent would you recommend?
oh yeah, so scents are always interesting. We have four scents: the lumberyard, the portage, the arboretum, and the shipyard. The shipyard's going to be a very by the bay kind of barbershop smell, with a mix of the bay rum and vanilla scents. Your lumberyard's going to be your backwoods cedar and balsam fir. Your spearmint is going to be, or excuse me, the arboretum is going to be a spearmint and cedar scents mixed together, which is quite the almost like a gum refreshing smell. If you were to bite into a piece of spearmint gum, and then the portage is more for the lady or love of your life, and that's going to have more of a lavender and patchouli scent.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, so we have quite the variations of bouquets, we should say, for your lovely face forest.
Wonderful. Well, again, CJ, thank you very much. And again, everyone go to bigtopbeardcompany.com.